Welcome back to the channel. This is Roberto with Full Curl Precision. I appreciate for those who are subscribed and do follow the channel. I appreciate all that you do. For those who are new to the channel, please, if you have to create an account, it's simple. It doesn't cost you anything. Just create an account on YouTube and then subscribe. We appreciate all the support. When we get to 200 subs, we'll be doing giving away a hat, a shirt, and an ammo box. We do 3 different winners. It doesn't cost you a cent. Once we get there, I'll give you instructions on how to do it. It's really simple. Anyway, for tonight, it's been a little bit while. So we went on a bit of a vacation last week. This weekend we went over to Billings and got some much needed things done, like new glasses, right? Those are needed. But today I finally got the chance to go out and do some range day stuff. I did some hand loads for my 270, and I did some ladder tests and got some better results. Let me show you what I'm working with here. So just real quick, I did H4831 and I did some N160, and so I found some really good numbers I'm going to go with. I'm going to try some. So this is going to be 55, 55 and a half, 56, 56 and a half of the N160 with the 150 grain ABLR. I'd stopped at 57 because, this right here, see if this shows up. It's not completely flattened, but it kind of is a little bit on the cratered side. Not bad, but enough for me to not want to have to mess with it. So I stopped at this. I had up to 58 grains. I had up to 58 grains of the N160 loaded. So as soon as I saw some of that, I stopped. But let me show you these numbers. This is crazy. So, starting off with the H4831, it's a little too slow for my taste. Yeah, with the 140 grain TGKs, the best it got was like there, 55 and a half. I don't know what happened here, but it had a brain fart of some sort. But either way, I'm not impressed with those numbers. Not when I'm already getting over 3,000 feet per second with H4350. And then at the 150 grain, it got as high as 2883. That error is my error, not the machine's error. Anyway. It's because I don't think I was necessarily the most aligned when I took that shot. I don't think the secondary sensor picked it up. So, N160, this surprised me. The lowest setting did 2876 with a 150 grain ABLR. That's what that is, by the way. 55, 2917, 56, 2975, and then this one blew me out of the water. 3067. Like I said, it kind of flattened that primer a little bit. Not terrible, but it did. And so I was like, oh man, that's kind of crazy. So, stay up, computer. I didn't go to the 58. I figured that was fast enough, and I'm not going to risk it. So, what would that mean for me? Well, let's see here. We're using the Federal Ballistics app. We're going to go hand load. Select that. Muzzle velocity 3067 with a BC of 0.591. Scope height there, zero range there, 100-yard increments, and we're gonna stick with that. And try to remember, make sure I got everything else going correct. Okay, calculate, and I'm doing all the way out to 800 yards. So with the velocities of this and a 10-mile-an-hour cross breeze, full value wind. So at 200 yards, I'm only looking at 1.6 inches of drift. Obviously, that's where my zero range is, so I don't have any drop. I'm still maintaining 2797 feet per second with 3,475 foot-pounds. That's crazy. And look at this. Hold on. Make sure I got the right thing. Did I adjust the grain weight? Did it give me a grain weight? Select a weight. No, it did not. Why is it not? Okay, let's go back and reset this. We need to do this right because I don't believe for a second that that's correct. All right. hand load, bullet weight, 150. I'm like, yeah, the 150 getting over 4,000 is a little insane. So we're going to go with 3,067.591. Height of 2. 0 range 200. We're going to go with increments of 100 yards. Altitude of 5,000 feet, because that's how high we are. Maximum range, I'm going to take this straight out to 800 just because I think it's kind of cool to see what this will do. We're just sticking with a 10 mile an hour cross breeze, full value wind, and calculate. All right. This is much more realistic. Okay. So, there you go. At muzzle energy, 3133. So, I'm getting over 3,100 foot-pounds with a standard 270. That's fantastic. 200 yards. Again, 1.6 inches of drift, 2797 feet per second, 2606 in the energy. If we jump down to 400 yards, we're at only 15.9 inches of drop and only 3.8 inches of 6.8 inches of drift. So that's not much. That's an easy holdover. And you're still looking at 2543 feet per second, 2154 foot-pounds. Look at 500 yards. This is not much at all. 31.5 inches of drop and 10.8 inches of drift with 2422 feet per second and 1953 foot-pounds. I'm not much shy of 2,000 foot-pounds of energy at 500 yards with a 270. That's crazy. Here you go. 600 yards, you're at 53.1 inches of drop, 15.9 inches of drift, still over 2,300 feet per second and 1,767 foot-pounds. 700 yards, 81.5 inches of drop, 22.3 inches of drift, still 2,188 feet per second. So just below 2,200, 1,594 foot-pounds. Now look at this at 800 yards, 117 inches of drop, 29.9 inches of drift. You're still at over 2,000 feet per second with 1,436 foot-pounds. Now, yeah, I know that's a lot of drop and a lot of... Relatively speaking, it is. But here's the thing you need to remember about this particular bullet, the 150 grain Nosler AccuBond long range. The minimum recommended point of expansion for velocity is 1,800 feet per second. That's almost 2,100 at 800 yards. So that means in theory you could push this thing in a little further and it would still expand. Would I feel comfortable taking that shot? Absolutely not. I don't have the optics for it. So I'm going to stop at 400, 425 yards because I know I can make those shots. And here's the thing. I like to stick with, roughly the 1,500 foot-pounds of energy as that low end. At 800 yards, 1,436, you're right in that wheelhouse. You're right there with it. So could you ethically, with this load, take an 800-yard shot and on an elk and think that it will do the trick? Now, is it the best option for 800-yard shots? Absolutely not. There are better. If you're going to be taking 800-yard shots, there are much better bullet options than that. Honestly, I'd be using some sort of Magnum at that point. 7 Rem mag, 300 Win mag, 7 PRC, 300 PRC, 300 Weatherby, name it. But it's just kind of cool to see that it has that potential. That at 500 yards, that it really is an absolute tank. That it's really not that far behind a 270 WSM. Or it's also keeping up with the 6.8 Western a little bit. It's not that far behind it. and it's most certainly not far, but it's actually kind of neck and neck with a 280 Ackley Improved. That's fantastic. So I'm going to be definitely doing the loads with the N160, and I kind of dialed it into 55 grains, 55 and a half, 56 grains, and 56 and a half. I don't want to be pushing it right at red line every single time. I like the idea of, having it be more consistent. So if I can get somewhere in the ballpark of 3,040 to 3,050 feet per second pretty consistently, I think that has a great potential for, being an absolute beast. Now, there's a couple other things too. I know I mentioned it before, but the reason why I go with the 270 as a parent case is the affordability factor. It has great performance, but it also has high affordability. Here's what I got while we were out there. Here's another bag of Starline brass. This was like $30. It's not that expensive to get brass in 270. They have 7mm 08 brass for like $32 or $33 for the same bag of 50. So the nice part about a lot of this is I'm picking cartridges to build on that are already affordable. Therefore, I can create something new that's affordable. That's the whole premise behind it. That's everything in a nutshell. The other side of this is I'm not looking to replace everything else as it is to add to it. There's just not enough good 27 calibers. I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, there's not as much of a good bullet selection. Yeah, it's because they have how many 27 caliber cartridges can you realistically name off the top of your head that people actually hunt with on a regular basis that are popular? I can list only 3 that aren't, one that's only really popular and the rest are just there. The first most popular one obviously is a 270 Winchester, followed by the 270 WSM, followed by the 6.8 Western, and even one of the firearms managers that I talked to over at Shields, they've only sold like 1, maybe 2 277 Sig Furies. And I looked and I didn't see any ammo that they had. So it's like everything they're doing is order only on the Sig Fury. It's not available. And Shields and Cabela's, or Bass Pro I should say, they're not carrying them. You're talking about 2 huge conglomerates in the outdoor world are not carrying them. They're custom order only. Yeah, definitely not part of the conversation. Outside of that, you have 270 Weatherby Magnum. Again, not many guys are going to go for that because they're very expensive. Same thing with the 27 Nosler. It's even more expensive than the 270 Weatherby Magnum. Then you're going to have like 6.8 SPC, but then again, I don't really count that as a really proper hunting cartridge. And I've yet to even see a rifle in that, or even a box of ammunition in it. So but I don't really get into the ARs, but that's besides the point. So 270 Winchester is really the most popular 27 caliber cartridge. By trying to develop these 3 that I'm working on, the plan is to add 3 more to where companies can go, hey, this is a reason to start producing better bullets in 27 caliber. If I can do that, that changes the game. It's already changed significantly with the 6.8 Western. So if I can keep riding that wave and take it even further, I don't think it'll take long, and a lot of people will be jumping on board. So there's a lot of that. And then here's my other project. So this is a barrel I already have. This is already threaded for small shank and the right pitch thread for a Savage action. So I plan on getting a cheap Savage rifle and then having this put on and get a Boyd stock for it. The nice part about the Boyd stock is I can get, because they're laminated, I can get them in my company colors. So they have like a charcoal gray and orange. I'd love to be able to build this out and then stick one of them, get a new burris for it and stick that on there, and just have a nice lightweight mountain rifle. Because if I'm getting, that kind of velocity out of a 24-inch barrel, this being a cut rifle, the rifling in this is cut as opposed to button. I absolutely believe that you can get 3,000 feet per second easily. And then I know for a fact that this barrel likes the 140 grain TGKs. So I'd probably do something like that and see if I can get 3,100 feet per second with those out of this, or even close to it, maybe 3,050. If I get that, that would be an absolute, amazing deer rifle setup. Stick a good muzzle brake on the end and call it good. And no, I don't want a suppressor. I like brakes. I like brakes because I feel like I get back on game faster than suppressors. I don't have the issues of Mirage. I don't have to worry about whether or not, they get too warm. They just work. The other side of it too is length. When you add a suppressor, you get a lot more length. You add a little bit of length with a brake, but not as much, so you can keep your rifle a little bit more compact. And yeah, I know they're loud, but I hunt with hearing protection anyway. So, regardless of whether or not someone has a suppressor or whatever the case is, I'm going to be hunting with Hearing Pro, so I might as well hunt with what I want. That's going to be the plan. But I'm going to get off here, and we're going to be working on an updated version of my rifling pattern. I got the chance to talk with the tooling company, pick the mind of the head engineer, told them what the goals are and everything else too, and they really like it, and so we're working together on it, and they're excited for it because they're like, man, this is going to be some really cool innovation, which, let's face it, engineers love innovation, genuine innovation, not just some sort of rendition of what someone else thinks it is. So, yeah, that's all I have for tonight. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, hit that notification bell. We want to be able to do this giveaway, but we can't do it unless you help us get to 200. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again.